Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Aeon Trespass Odyssey, specifically Cycle 1, because that is what we have just finished. After everything was said and done, Devin,
I hate
it was...
Oh, sorry, what? Oh, you were asking me, what?
I fucking dude, I hate this game so much.
It's so terrible.
Now, this one, the very first part was uploaded January 2nd of 2023. So we were almost at 2 years.
Almost at 2 years, damn, just a few months away.
Yep.
Because we did like a fall start, and then came out.
Oh, you know what? Actually, you might be right. Yes, since we started... Yeah, I think...
We started in the Madara days. We were doing a little back and forth.
You're right.
And then we were like, oh, we played more Madara. It had a dead spell, and we came back to it to give it the more official treatment.
Yes, because we were, at the beginning of this campaign, we were starting, we were going back and forth, but then we'd forget the rules for this, then we'd do Madara, forget the rules of Madara, then to go back, and it was just too much of epic campaigns to hop back and forth. So we finished Madara, and then we hopped into this. So yeah, actually you're right. We've done the tutorial, and so that actually might have been 2 years since we officially started this. But with this entire series that we just now finished, that was January 2nd. So, boy, God, there's so much to this game. So almost 2 years of one cycle.
Yeah.
Now, the way we play, unfortunately, we don't live like in the same city. But relatively still close enough that we can still obviously game together. But it's not like we're playing every week. So even though I consistently upload pretty much weekly, it's basically like we meet once a month and play for pretty much the whole day.
Right.
This is pretty much, I do have some actual issues with it. I'm not going to sit here and just glaze it, for 45 minutes. I do have some qualms with it, but this, at this point in time, is my favorite game.
Oh, man.
It is pretty much everything that I want out of board gaming. Yeah. Now, it's not to say I'm not going to sit here and be like, nope, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no issues. But unlike a lot of the campaign games that you and I play, like if we play all day, like if we do all day Madara, I'm pissed by the end. This, I will still say, I'm exhausted by the end.
Right.
I'm not, but I mean, depending on how the the ambushes and constant fights go, I might be annoyed. But at the end, I'm always super stoked to dive into this. There's just so many good things that it does. Now, that who's to say how long that'll last? But just from Cycle 1 alone, there are so many avenues that just Cycle 1 can go. And it took us 2 years of gameplay of just this to be like, oh man, we could have got different endings. We didn't touch on two of the adventures at all.
Yeah.
Didn't finish 3 of them.
Yeah, the adventure hubs held a lot more importance than we really originally would think.
Yeah,
and the action hub is essentially it's a series of like 10 different named hubs.
The adventure hub? Is that what you mean?
And you roll what?
So you roll a d10. So how it works, because I guess you never saw them. Depending on which story card we're in, are the chance. So like story 1. A 1 to 3 is the Fated Conundrum, 4 to 6. So we can't even get the Dreams Laid Bare until we're in story card 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
So,
and if we were to and that was the one that gave us the really nice benefit to the final boss.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff just in Cycle 1 alone that you aren't going to be able to capitalize on unless you play it again. Like the glyphs, for example. Yeah. That was like the secret code that you had to unlock. It's like once you know that, then you play it again, and then you can look and be like, oh, hey, now we know what these numbers are.
We got more letters,
Yep.
Just slurs.
It's a bunch of slurs on the walls. So there's that. There's also the fact that, like, yes, if you're watching this and you're like, you didn't even fucking beat the final boss, you like cheated to win. It's like we had 7 Sisyphus tears.
Like we were going to win. Like, we one hit point away, we're winning eventually.
It's like, just by, as a Sisyphus tier, letting you just be like, nope, and redo it, it's like, look, like, I mean, imagine, that's kind of like their Dark Souls is the Sisyphus tier. It's like, rose up at the bonfire, full health, Estus Blast, I'll turn back in and do it again.
Try it again.
But we just don't want to spend, an hour and a half, 2 hours times 7 if it takes that much. It's like, yeah, chances are more dice go our way. But here's the thing, like, the final boss, like, redoing it again, I would never beat him again. We beat him and I made him a level 2.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Why? Why would I ever fight him, kill him the first time, and then be like, oh, yeah.
You only really lose because we would have just fought the level 1 and smeared him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool that they... Yeah, I mean, I guess... Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
The problem is I don't remember what we even got. I think we got like 2 progress and an Argo knowledge, or we're in Odyssey.
Yeah, we got some good stuff.
Yeah.
And we got the blade as well.
But ultimately, if it's kind of like, well, at the end, I'd rather just win. If you for some reason don't get a lot of Sisyphus tiers, like if you're playing through this and you only have like 1 or something, let's say you just really roll bad and get a party wipe and you use your Sisyphus tiers early, then it's like, yeah, okay, well, I know how the final fight goes. I'm not gonna make him harder because our campaign's not going that well.
Right.
So I'd rather just make it easier. We finally got an awakening. That was nice.
Right. Thematic.
Yeah, thematic.
The final battle.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, there's just still so much content in one cycle, and there's 4 more just in the core game, and then there's the 12 sins and all.
They really got quite a bit of mileage out of 4 monsters.
They really did.
I mean, that's a lot of mileage.
That is true.
I mean, Jesus.
And then they technically have even more mileage because you unlock the theater. That it's like, all right, time to try and fight them at a level 5 and get a reward for doing it.
Right.
With no downside except time that you lose if you get wiped. Yeah, you're right. They really curate each cycle to be heavily on one theme, which actually brings me to my first negative. There's so much story that because of the way the adventure hubs work, because it's random, with a potential way to actually like re-roll so you can try and curate it, if you're not playing this every week, man, I still don't really know the whole story. Which, with how much story there is, and it's good writing. Like, I'm not sitting there like, not because I don't care, it's because there's so much.
I mean, yeah, like was it like a phonetic guide or however you say it, something to pronounce, to show you how to pronounce all these words?
Yeah, yeah. It's also, the wording sometimes is weird. Pronunciation of like, man, like they really either did their research on ancient Greece to like really sell the theme, but it's also like, okay, we're progressing the main story, so here's that, and then we do an adventure hub which jumps to the story of Theseus, and then we jump to the Hornsworn, then we jump to this, and we jump to this, and it's like all over the place, that if you're not either taking notes or playing a lot where it's retained in your head, like I'm lost half the time.
Yeah, they're all really unique, interesting stories, but it's kind of hard to see how they link.
Right.
I mean, they kind of grow, but I mean, the best I got was, we really helped out the Hornsworn there for a bit. I know we got friendly with one of their main guys.
Yep.
And that was really the gist
of it. And then we
of
betrayed him.
We betrayed him, yeah.
Because, this cycle specifically focused on, like, the love between Ariadne and Theseus.
Theseus, yes.
And then Theseus was murdered because we found out he was actually betrayed by like his allies, his own men. But then there's also the story of the Labyrinthians and their cult that we never got into. But it's like, it's not like I'm sitting there going, I have no idea what happened, but I don't know details. Half the time, like for example, whenever it's like, wait, we did find Minos. Okay, now who's the anchor? Wait, Ariadne's the anchor? But what's the anchor? Because there's a bunch of sci-fi stuff tied in. Not only do you have to understand ancient Greece, the weird sci-fi shit they throw in. And because there's a lot of reading, and I know audio narration is coming, I fucking hate reading out loud. Because it's like, one, I don't even know if you're like retaining because you're just listening to me over and over. And I'm not retaining it because I'm the one trying to read it out loud. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not visualizing this at all.
Right.
But Devin, what did you think?
What did I think? Well, I really enjoyed this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I love me a good boss battler. Let's see. I mean, thematically, it felt like it had a good resolution. I liked the use of the adventure hubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like that they're so random. They give you a reroll option.
Yeah.
But it's pretty difficult to do, like, to complete them.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
But I like how it's just different boons, really.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, come end of the game, it gives you a few more selections.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
A lot of choice matrix stuff,
Yeah.
like, unfortunately, the ones we got just never happened to really pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But hell, even by, like, the finale, like, there was one where it's like, oh, man, I bet you if I actually completed my Minoan heritage, then I could have been the...
That would have been really cool.
And that's really cool, but it sucks whenever you realize how close you were, and it's like, oh, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Just because we didn't happen to get 2 more Voyage or Heritage or Fate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there was never a way to complete it.
Right.
Which I guess is for replayability purposes.
That's true. Yeah, definitely a really cool overarching story. I really enjoyed the Inward Odyssey. You know, learning more about your
About the
capabilities
ship.
and the ship's just so massive.
Yeah. And I mean, just the way it concludes is like, yeah, like they didn't just give every answer to you. It's like, nope, like go to Sparta now because you got to still figure out more because each cycle has its own Inward Odyssey. Each cycle has obviously their own story stuff and its own choice matrix. It's like everything we just did is done again, but a different setting with more rules and more items. It's like a whole new game.
Yeah. It definitely, let's see here, it developed fairly naturally. I mean, difficulty-wise, I felt like the game definitely got easier the more we played.
Yes.
I mean, gear was a huge part of this. It definitely felt like in the early days, like, rolling was rough. It was rough to get hits in sometimes. But I feel like that really smoothed out come a certain, like, mid-game point.
Yeah, because I know we kept talking about like how curated this game is.
Oh yeah, just like they know where you're going to be for like each point.
Yeah,
like there's no gaming this,
which is insanely impressive.
Yeah,
like that must mean insane playtesting for them to ensure. Because like there was never a point where we felt overpowered or underpowered. Really, like we never wiped.
Yeah.
I mean, in this final fight, yes, we wiped, but that's what Sisyphus Tears are for. So, unlike Madara or KDM, kind of to an extent, the die rolls I never felt were like, well, I guess we're losing. You know, it still felt like, okay, we always have a chance, even though we might lose a Titan or 2.
Right.
Which is, yeah, and by the time we finished, our timeline ended at almost day 69. But you had 11 days left.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it makes me wonder, can you ever do so well that you're done by the end of the campaign in day 40?
Yeah.
You know?
That definitely stripped a little bit more of like the kind of the complexity, I guess, or you were handling it when it comes to like gear crafting.
Yeah.
You know, not so many resources. You know, it's like you get your 2 per monster, or 3 per monster. It's like you get 2 unique drops, and then what was it called? The grease, the black stuff, the ambrosia.
Oh,
the raw ambrosia.
yes.
And that's what you get.
Yeah.
And then you have your mortal resources, which you just get by traveling.
Yeah,
so it was all very scripted, and you're going to get so much each point. So it's
And
like, okay, you're going to be able to craft this. And another interesting thing is that it increased the amount of volume of resources that you get leveling up. So it scaled up their number versus, you know, like unlocking new resources, which is interesting
Yes.
to me. Because I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of properly gates the higher level stuff. Because it's like, you know, once you're in the higher level portion of the game, you can buy, you know, the previous era's stuff crazy cheap. Oh, it's like, 10 raw ambrosia when we have 70.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to build something current, it's like 60 raw ambrosia or
Yeah.
some bullshit. So that was an interesting take.
Yeah, like I actually find it fascinating that with the 4 bosses, one being the final boss that shows up actually multiple times throughout the campaign, which is interesting.
Yeah, the first time he showed up, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And intimidating. I like that, but then he overstayed his welcome.
He did, yeah. Out of all 4 of the bosses, he was probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
And it's not... His design is really cool, but it's like, okay, he's this really big pyramid thing that just causes despair.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not super hot on the going up against a higher level foe idea. Like, it's cool, dabbling, but like when it kind of becomes obligatory, and sure, there's mechanisms to make it easier. You know, you only have to get 3 wounds, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. It's like, I don't feel like I get it. I don't feel like I gain enough rewards for it.
Right. Especially being ambushed, where they kind of really wanted you to be ambushed a lot, literally throwing a card in the exploration deck that's like, oh, you're ambushed by the Temenos, do that. And it's like, no.
But on the same hand, it was neat to see how our powers scaled. Like at first, I remember the first time we fought the Temenos, I'm like, when were we able to take this guy?
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's like, oh, well, you got some licks in that time. And it's like, oh, maybe we can fucking take this guy.
Oh, okay. Well, we did the minimum. We could just stop because we were ambushed, but we haven't taken any danger, so let's see if we can beat him.
Yeah.
And then you do, and same with the Pursuer.
You get punished, so he has a high-level final boss.
That's true. That's true. Hell, fighting the Pursuer was actually my favorite. Which is interesting just from a design standpoint, and there's actually good rewards for beating him, not only probably from future cycles where he sticks around, but you actually go out of your way to remove him, then it's like, hey, here's some really interesting lore and history.
I thought that was interesting. Granted, we had to really earn that.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, it's like, you could still do it. Like, we could have waited a little bit to get a little bit stronger to then have his lair come out. But we were already kind of near the end. One thing I really didn't like was the way that the story cards kind of worked. Was, at least in this one, where it's like, there were so many story cards where it's like progress didn't mean anything, so you could only dump them on the Inwards Odyssey. And then the very last one, it's just like, oh, now you need all that progress.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, we explored everywhere, so now we have no natural way to get progress.
Yeah, I didn't like the map layout in a way. Like, I felt like I touched on this a little bit, but the river system, because definitely a lot of things story-wise ended up lined up with the rivers, and by going there early, we tread a lot of ground, eating more doom, and reducing our ability to get adventure hubs. Yes. That part of the game was super dry. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future we won't have to deal with that so
It
much.
Almost feels like that. I don't think that's necessarily a game design. It just like happenstance.
Yeah.
And it did happen. It's like nothing forced us to go up in the river. We just did.
Yeah.
And it happened to be a bad time.
Right.
And if those tiles weren't there, like the way that we found like the map crossings could have been in like 5 different points. It's just in our experience, it was always in the worst position where you're kind of flooded with doom just to get somewhere. And then you kind of have to backtrack again because when you're traveling, the fun part of traveling in this game is exploring new tiles.
Yeah.
But whenever the tiles are already explored, you don't really gain anything from it because you've already done the adventure there, you've already done the rest and relaxation, you've gained the progress. So the only thing is doom. And it's like, okay, well, because we can only move 1 space a fucking turn, a lot of times if you're not doing the combat, it's just kind of like move, okay, nothing new, done.
Yeah.
Move, done. And yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, man, well, that's boring. Hey, we finally can do new map tiles. Yay! Hey, there's a adventure hub here. That's cool. So I do kind of agree with you. I like the traveling portion.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely engaged this whole time. No dead spells.
Except for the one where it's like, at the very end, it's like, hey, you need 5 progress to finish this, or you can get 12. Well, I counted all the map tiles left. We can only get 10 from those, which we'd lose by doom doing that anyway. That I don't know. I can't imagine anyone that plays this game for 70 days, like in game days, and then legitimately chooses to lose by doom. Yep, campaign's over.
Yep, we're done.
Reset.
Oh,
Gotta
darn.
do better next time. It's just like, how about you play solo? I didn't fucking play for 2 years to just not see the good ending. But I mean, maybe there are players like that who only have this game. Yeah, there's definitely a lot. Like half the time, I quit trying to remember certain rules. It's like I'm just looking it up now. It's too much to retain. It's like I don't, and hell, half the time, like Awakenings never came up for us, which they even made a comment about once. They're like, "Hey, if you're not getting Awakenings, that's good.
Yeah,
that means you're not dying."
right.
So it's supposed to be like a balancing mechanism, but because they really want you to just roll natty 10s, it's like, well, I bet you if people are still getting their teeth kicked in, they're not awakening a lot. Because it's not like, oh man, I need to roll a 10. Duh, didn't fucking get it. Guess I died again.
Yeah.
Like, you have a 1 in 10 chance, and it just fucking... I mean, but it makes those criticals so worth it. Because we just did our Gambler's Chest KDM where everything becomes trivial if you crit on everything.
Oh yeah, everything's crit monster.
But it's like, there's a balance. Like, it'd be nice if there was some keyword that, like, maybe you couldn't stack, but maybe you can crit on 9s or 10s. Just giving you a little bit higher chance of being able to crit.
I mean, the deadly, like, actually helped fairly significantly. Just
Yeah.
the 2 dice that can crit.
Yeah, that's true.
Was very nice.
Yeah, lots of keywords. What did you think of the bleeding in of, like, other cycles?
Well, that was really cool. A nice reward, I think. It felt like, okay, we're getting into secret stuff. So it definitely felt, new and unique. Like, I was really getting rewarded for whatever.
Although I don't think we ever used it.
No, we didn't use the sword or whatever. I mean, it unlocked the, what was it, the brass smelting or something?
Yes.
That we could have crafted a few things if we had the right gear.
Yeah, which came from the sarcophagus, the bronze layer. Well, actually, sorry, we did craft it. We crafted the Hermesian stuff.
Yeah, which was really cool.
Yeah, it is very interesting because it kind of is like, well, this is what Cycle 2 is going to offer a little bit. So, but they also did it in such a way where it's like you get to use better stuff, but they don't overload you with more rules. It's not like, oh, now learn about ascending. It's like, what the fuck is this? It only works for that one card. It's just like, don't worry about it in Cycle 1. But now you know what it kind of does for Cycle 2.
I do like how they're naturally kind of building you up. It's unlocking new game mechanics naturally as you play.
Cycle 1 definitely feels very... I mean, I don't know how it even works for this game, but bare bones. Like, all the weapons are primitive. Like, you're using makeshift boat parts as weapons. Finally getting a little bit into, hey, we can kind of smelt armor now. The progression of, like, human civilization into weapons, where it's like, I know just from quickly looking at Cycle 3 stuff, it's like, it starts getting really, like, plasmoid and sci-fi stuff.
Really?
I think. I know it's a lot more techy.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
It's like you start out like ancient Greece and then more sci-fi builds up, which is kind of like how it goes. Like, okay, hey, finally can do bronze weapons. You're no longer using sticks and rocks, which makes sense.
This is a boat filled with rocks.
Yes, right.
This is a big tree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the weapons is like literally a tree, or just, hey, now we can use a spear that does some stuff. Or we work to make this giant ass fucking sword. And then you look at the Cycle 2 stuff, and then it's like, instead of 2 pages of special rules, it's 4. Which is insanely cool. But I also liked, even with the unique, like, bosses, if you built kind of like their weapons from their autopsy and stuff, you were kind of designed to fight that enemy.
Right.
Which is thematically really, really cool.
So that also helped in them gradually getting easier over time.
Yes.
So like once we had like the fucking Hecaton killer fitted out, and then everyone else could actually like hit thresholds and whatnot.
Right, and it's like, okay, we have this kit, so now all he does is heavy knockbacks. That doesn't work on me anymore because we've studied your body, so we know how to counter you.
Yeah.
Same with the Labyrinth Oros, where it's like, now I'm going to be able to vault over you, or climb on your vantage point, or walk through mazes. And then we didn't really focus on the Temenos all that much. Temenos stuff seemed to just be increasing, like, stuff you've already built into better gear. But yeah, he was pretty one note. Like, I didn't really care about him at all. And then probably next would be the Labyrinthoros. Like, I know eventually you're just naturally going to fight all the way up to a level 4. But, man, he just sucked. Those Labyrinth tiles suck. Hope I never see him again. And then the Hecaton would be next. Hecaton and then the Pursuer.
Yeah.
That's probably how I'd rank them. Do you have any negatives?
Oh, I mean, I kind of voiced them earlier. You
Yeah.
know, a few of them, nitpicks here and there.
The Acoculus shit was annoying.
Yeah,
That was very stupid.
Wanted a little more. I'm like, why would you? We accepted her early. I'm like, and then why? I mean, she's leaving, and then it's just a punishment. I mean, I guess that's an option, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a punishment.
So I just lose out of her at the end game when it matters.
Yeah.
You just give me the option to kick her out.
Yeah.
Or she's leaving, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Having kept her so long, and they just kind of.
Yeah, then she gets mad, and then it's like, well, I'm not going to keep you hostage
Right.
to stay with us. Like, that's the way it came off, was that she was so angry that she was like, I'm leaving. And you're like, all right, yeah, here's a boat. Like, I thought we were going to transport her and be like, yeah, no, we'll make sure you get to shore safely, but it's like, no, I guess not.
Yeah.
But almost every time I mentioned her, it also mentioned the old spinner. Like,
Yeah,
a
it seemed
lot.
like they were the two big gets in the early game.
Yeah.
Like, we could have gotten both.
Could we?
Yeah. So, like the first event at Gnosis, it was either something with the kids or the old lady.
Yeah.
And the first time I played, we went with the old lady,
Yeah.
and that's how we ended up with the old spinner.
Right. Oh, then actually moved Cackle ahead.
Yes. So
She was probably like awful to keep around.
something.
Some
She was
cryptic,
something.
weird old lady.
Or maybe she was the one communicating to the the evil primordial transformer people.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Maybe they knew her.
Yeah. So I'm kind of bummed because we got 9 tick marks with her.
We don't even so much work in.
I know. Yeah, we simped for her for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
I just thought that she'd come back, or there'd be like some kind of.
yeah, she'd show up later. And
Yeah.
it's like, no.
Yeah, that's probably my one story complaint I have. I mean, otherwise, I think they did rather well. Yeah, I think they did really good. In the exploration, because like honestly, you're blindly wandering.
Yeah.
But they but in their like random tables, it almost seems like okay, you're naturally stumbling upon all these events, but it's all random.
Yeah.
You just happen to hit an adventure hub, and this is the one you happen to get. But in
Right.
this world, that's where this occurred.
Yes.
And so
exactly.
that's interesting. And progress as you investigating
Yeah.
the world as you go moving about naturally.
And even then, by coming across the same ones, like, even the ones we finished, Hidden in Plain Sight, Man of Purpose, you can make different decisions within those. They had so many choices
Right.
that it's like, you're going to get different outcomes, which either will give you different boons or whatever, but also will probably give you different choice matrix things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this choice matrix here is for the entire game, or if it's for Cycle 1 alone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot here, so I imagine it's for the whole game.
Yeah.
But if this doesn't get wiped, then that would mean that if these stay, then your choices affect later cycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very curious as to how much carries over from cycle to cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just hoping it just lets you step into it.
Yeah.
That's just an option.
Yeah, I mean, well, we can actually take a look at that. So Cycle 2 is Abyss Watchers. Okay. Which, does the same Adventure Hub stuff. You retain everything you accumulated during Cycle 1. Note that some content is marked as Cycle 1 only. Prepare the campaign according to campaign setup found in the rulebook. Starting a Cycle 2 Argo sheet. Resources not shown on the Cycle 2 are retained, but will mostly be inconsequential. Other resources, like Sisyphus Tears, are transferred. Remember, you'll be using the last page of the cycle, so the choice matrix persists across all cycles.
Okay.
So yeah. So this thing.
Yeah.
You start with 0 Argo Fate, 5 Hull, 5 Argo, 10 Titans. This includes all the special Argo Bred Titans you had at the end of Cycle 1.
Nice.
Note the new limits of the Cycle 2 sheet. Strangers are not used during the cycle. You start with 20 Argo knowledge. If you had less than that, you will start with 20. Mm-hmm. But do not read the Inward Odyssey stories you missed except Inward Odyssey 2. Okay, so it gives you the theater.
Okay.
Every diplomacy track starts at 0 unless some effect in a previous cycle gives you a bonus. Exchange the large core technology, which those, for their Cycle 2 counterparts, which are secret cards. Remove all trauma cards with the Cycle 1 only tag from the game, and add all trauma cards with the Cycle 2 only tag to the decks. Find the Violent Awakening Kratos deck, and permanently add it to. You start with returning Argonauts from Cycle 1. If there are fewer, create new ones. Yeah, because Heraclides retires. I'm fucking too old for this shit. And then perform a Divine Surge, then immediately proceed to main story 01. So yes, all technology, weapons, and all that stuff Kratos, so you do, looks like you just bleed right into it.
Okay, so they anticipated us being at 20 Argo knowledge then.
Yeah. Well, it mentioned it's just like, if we, let's say we just didn't pump into that and we were at 11, you go to 20, but you don't get anything from all the other, from the 9 you missed, except the theater.
Gotcha.
But that's impressive, because if we, let's say, it costs us 2 fucking Sisyphus tears. So...
We get to carry those over?
Yeah, you carry those over, but what's fascinating is, on his level 2, we got to 9. Mm-hmm. You know, chances are maybe I forgot to reshuffle or something, because there was a 1 left in here. If I reshuffled or put these back, then we could have probably killed him. So the level 2 harder final boss was done, relatively balanced with who we got. So what's fascinating is that makes me think that the Cycle 2 stuff is going to be, that much more difficult, but curated to understand where you're at.
Yeah.
I guess theoretically it also has rules in there for restarting. Let's say we just did horribly, we just wiped, didn't have any Sisyphus tears, so we have regular Dreamwalkers and all that it's okay, here's what you can do to kind of be balanced for Cycle 2. That's really, really cool. That is insanely impressive. But yeah, the way we just played this was, because chances are I don't ever see me being able to go through Truth of the Labyrinth again. There's so much. There's so much content. And I only have 1 table. Mm-hmm. And it's insane. Eventually, I don't think we would have finished today if I had to fucking, to remove all the map tiles so I can put the board down so we can do a fight.
Right.
Lift the board, put all the, just all that fiddly tedious, stuff. Fiddly thing that board games have. It's that just adds so much time. So yeah, it's just cool. Because the other thing is with the character builds, it's neat that it's not this is built on just my character. It's not so restrictive, but it's not so overblown. Mm-hmm. So you still have enough to keep track of, but it's not so simplistic that you're I just do one thing. Yeah. All it is, okay, I hit, I rolled. All right, that's that. It's okay, let me do this, and then that'll let me get up, and then this will actually add an auto brakes, which means I'm going to be able to hit more. Mm-hmm. And I have these cool Nemos nodes that give me unique abilities for the more they're you kind of curate into a character. One thing I would have liked to see more is the actual skills. The courage, cunning, endurance, fury, will, and wisdom. I would have liked to see that a little bit more. Actually, because by the end of it was you are the Argonauts. It really amped up who we are as people. But yet in the game, we were never really there.
Yeah.
We never really participated a lot.
You get into Titan, roll to see if you keep the ships away. Right.
Or, hey, you want to finally do a vantage point climb test? Test fury. Oh, who's the best at that?
Nobody.
Yeah, none of us. But other than that, I thought the ending was great, very epic and exhilarating. So I don't. I mean, I really don't have any major complaints.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, tight game. Like I said, they did a good job. You know, I was engaged the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very smooth experience for the most part. I mean, a lot of rules reference. But yeah, I recommend if you're looking for a solid, campaign game. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I really like. Storytelling is amazing, and it's only going to be that much more, epic once the actual audio narration comes out. It'll be like, oh, thank God, like, I don't have to do it. So with that, I mean, speaking of that, because people have asked, me in the comments if we were going to continue. It's like, hey, are you guys going to do the other cycles? Because I'm sure if anyone does a whole series, then they probably stop after cycle 1. Right. The answer is yes. Like, we do plan on doing the other cycles, but we are going to take a break because I really, really want the audio narration.
Right.
Like, 1, just for pronunciation purposes. 2, so it just feels more epic. Just from the samples they've given what?
No, I was just imagining the voiceover just saying, and cock lips. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. Just cock lips.
Okay.
I was saying it wrong this whole time.
Yeah, wow.
Cock lips. Okay. What the fuck did you get a cock lip?
Yeah.
Dipshit.
Hey, moron.
Anyways, a little sidebar thought of mine.
Yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, so because they've released some samples and it's like it's not just someone reading, it has ambiance, like the ocean in the background, seagulls, and it's like that's just gonna whatever the word is, accentuate this game even more to where I can also just
immersion. That's the word.
Yeah, make it so much more immersive. Like, I imagine even reading the epilogue of this would have been, like, had the cheering and stuff in the background and be a lot more epic with music and things. So...
Just a deadpan, dry old man. And they all...
Fix it. They hire her. They hire the sweet writers from Stars of Icarios. It's like, oh, no. Yeah, no, but it's also weird because I think they're doing cycles 1 and 4 first. I don't know if that's a typo or I don't know what the fuck is going on. So... Yes, we are going to do, unless Devin and I die or hate each other, or just something in Cycle 2 just makes us hate this game, I imagine we would do all of them. Mm-hmm. If it keeps going the way Cycle 1 did, they just completely throw in the towel.
Yeah. Good luck with it.
Yeah, Cycle 1 we put in all our effort, so the other 4 we just kind of throw in, which I know they haven't. I'm just so fucking amazed. Like, none of these designers have made any other game, like, that I can tell. Like, if I'm going into Aeon Trespass Odyssey, which has 2.3 thousand rankings, and it's sitting at a 9. Marcin Welnicki. Okay. So I guess technically he has done a game called... I guess there was a game called End of Atlantis or Slavica, which have like horrible ratings. But Kingdoms Forlorn, Enormity, which is coming up, Aeon Trespass Odyssey. So pretty much a first-time designer. It's mind-boggling the way how tight this game is. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. So, yeah. So definitely keep an eye out for Cycle 2. But you can probably expect Cycle 2 to start once the audio narration is done. That's going to be my guess.
Well, we'll be in the middle of Madara, Act 2 by then.
That is true.
It'll get shelved.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we will do it, but not immediately after. Like, it's not like, oh, this discussion's up. Next week is Cycle 2. Yes, that wouldn't even be possible time-wise. But yeah, On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving Aeon Trespass Odyssey Cycle 1?
1.
1.
First one. Yeah. Oh man, they did a really good job here.
Actually, there is one thing that I kind of wish is by the end of at least Cycle 1, we pretty much had every technology.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea of not being able to get everything and being a little bit more selective on what you get. It's like, if you're able to get everything, then it kind of makes your choices a little less important.
Well, it just gives you access to them sooner. I guess we could have gotten them at any point, for the most part.
Eventually, the only ones we didn't get was Advanced Support Equipment, Labyrinth Life Study, Advanced Crew Expansion, and Peace, which Peace was how we get out of that war.
Yeah. Well, it definitely seems like you focused on one monster technology and really focused in on that so you can get access to more powerful, potent weapons a little earlier.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like, if you're getting access to everything, then it's, more of the order of which you do it. So like if we wanted the Maze Rake, Whaler, Javelin, Hull Bow, and Ariadne's Hello, then we would have went after the Labyrinth Thoros more and focused on that, but we basically chose to almost never fight him. We chose to go after the Hecaton a lot more. Which again got us a lot more story about the Hecaton, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being like, oh man, like let's look at all our options. We can't get all of these. Like, how do we want to do our build? How do we want to do our Argo or crew build? But that's
and it might change.
That's true.
Because this was Cycle 1. We're building our baseline. This is us new to the Argo. So maybe that was intended.
Maybe. That is true. So. And it's not even that big of a complaint.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's like I'm not sitting there going, man, we got everything. How easy. Because clearly, even though we unlocked everything, we couldn't get everything. It was like, man, how the fuck? Like, we had to work our ass off to get the Gigas.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's just one person. But what was also very cool is this wasn't done, and this isn't necessarily throwing shade at KDM in any way, but because of the way the fights work, because the fights kind of happen at select points, and there's only 4 of them, really 2 of them, the resources are so general that there was never really a moment besides the Gigas where it was kind of like, sorry, Devin, we're not building for you right now. You know, we're building for me. It's like everyone got items and equipment because you got so much. It's like, oh yeah, no, building time, because you can build at the end of any day. It's like, man, we have a shit ton of resources. Let's build this, this, and this and hand them out. Or it's like, we got a lot of weapons. We got a secret card from doing a crit on this. Like, none of them were curated to be like, this is only what Raz can equip. It's like, theoretically, we can just shuffle all these together and be like, okay, who do we want to distribute, around the equipment? Because I know whenever you play a 4-player game of like KDM, it's just like, no, we have to go fight the Croc because we're trying to fill out Seth's, his build. We're only fighting this for him. I mean, again, the gear could be swapped around just as easily as it could be in this game for the most part. I mean, the completed sets. It can, but like your play style is like, well, I don't want to use the Croc gear. I want to use this guy's gear. All right, well, we'll go fight him next. But it's like, well, it's really just for you. Right. I mean, they didn't, sure, that you're not tied to, a armor set bonus. Right. Which previously were a little more on KDM. But even in our Gambler's Chest one, it was like, both of my characters just happened to be fucking OP because of the weird shit I got. And it wasn't until the end where your characters, it's like, oh, they finally have their finish. Here, it's like, I felt like everyone except Raz, funny enough, contributed in different ways. And it's like, well, Raz might get a hit in, and she's dead. All right, look at that. So, I don't know. It felt nicer. To me, it felt like everyone was valuable in a fight. Yeah. Except for Raz. And of course, he's the one who retired, and she's mentally damaged because she died all the time, seized up in her chair over and over. But that was one thing I wanted to bring up because I was just kind of looking at gear real quick, and it's like, oh yeah, I have this, and that's exactly what I built for, and that's great. So yeah, let's go 1 to 10. Oh man, if you're looking for that cumulative story experience, sort of the heavy reliance on the Greek theme,
the Greek terminologies and whatnot. I think, the narration will really add to it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, I think definitely 10 worthy.
Yeah.
I can't say it's not. This is a solid game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, it's definitely a 10 in my book, and just the audio narration is just going to make it that's going to make it so much better. I'm just hoping that they add it for everything. Like, and what's nice is, like, it isn't like doom and gloom. It's not your dark fantasy or your grim dark like story. It's like, there's a feeling of despair and terror and horror, but it's not like, oh man, you walk to another village and everyone's dying of the plague.
Everyone's strung up.
Yeah, everyone's strung up. Oh man, let's go to this assassin's city where contracts are written in their skin and you have to kill the guy to null a contract. It's like, okay, Hot Topic manager, let's calm the fuck down. Like, it had a sense of very, still kind of high fantasy, high sci-fi mix, but also, like, the rest and relaxations can be funny. Like, they had some humor thrown in,
right?
Which I very much enjoyed. But some of those rest and relaxations, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
The weird play one, that was
the very last one we got. I was like, what is this? Like, this feels very like targeted, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. And again, if you're watching and you're pissed that we fucking flub shit to keep going, well then, spend $1,000, buy your own game, and don't do that. I try to be entertaining. I wouldn't find it entertaining if I was watching someone do the finale and they played it 7 times in a row. I'd skip to the end. You're like, when are you doing it?
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Or they just do it. It's like I could have just done that, did a hard cut and been like, hey, we did it. You don't know if I'm lying or not. It's like, hey, oh, fuck, hey! Exactly. So I hope it was fun for everyone. We had a blast. Can't wait to start Cycle 2. So that's it. That's our thoughts on Aeon Trespass Odyssey, Cycle 1, The Truth of the Labyrinth. Let us know what you think of it in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.